Welcome to Gerrymandering Genetics, the show where I refute the YouTube atheists, the Genetically Modified Skeptic. This is my first episode in this series, and it's a nice change of pace from the Cosmic Skeptic. One, because I'm no longer doing that little intro thing I did with the Cosmic Skeptic, at least not until I make another video on Cosmic Skeptic. But mainly because this first video is an organized list, which makes taking video clips and responding to them so much easier. And it's a pretty short video too, though I'm sure his videos will get longer as they go. Anyway, in this episode, Mr. Modified is going to give a list of 5 ways that he equivocates religion with homeopathy. Let's begin.
The similarities between alternative medicine and religion are pretty striking, and here are a few of those similarities. The claims of both rely on anecdotal evidence. I know that it's real because I experienced it. My personal experience matters more than any kind of data that you could present. Sounds pretty familiar to anyone who's debated a religious person, but anyone who's debated someone that believes in homeopathy has probably heard that as well. After all, it doesn't matter if controls are present. The most substantial evidence you could ever give someone are stories of redemption and healing of people just like you. While the religious call these stories testimonies, the naturopath calls them testimonials. There's really not that much difference.
So this is the first video on Mr. Modified's channel, and it really shows with this comment. Because apparently at this point in his career, he's never heard of a Christian atheist debate before. He's never heard of the Kalam cosmological argument or the teleological argument. At least, that's what I'm getting from this. Christianity does not rely on anecdotal evidence. There's nothing wrong with anecdotal evidence, but the evidence for Christianity goes far beyond mere anecdotal evidence.
They both rely on placebo. Say you have a headache. Prayer, if believed, can give some temporary relief, and herbal cures, quantum healing, what have you, can do the exact same. Expectation of relief can bring relief, but that's only a short-term fix. But if you have something like a brain tumor, you're going to need to see long-term effects, and placebo is no help. Alternative medicine and prayer offer absolutely no solution there.
Now, I did not come here to defend homeopathy, but he's begging the question for both. By claiming it's a placebo effect, he's already assumed it's not real or not true. And that's not the only way in which he begged a question here. When he says they both rely on a placebo effect, he's implying a dishonest nature, which is another thing he has not proven for either religion or alternative medicine.
Confirmation bias runs rampant in people in both camps. It's easy to remember the hits and forget the misses. Religious people do it all the time when something good happens in their life and they chalk it up to God. Alternative medicine fans do the exact same thing. They'll tell you about times when some natural remedy cured their mom's cancer, but they'll conveniently forget all the times when that same natural cure didn't live up to the hype. When you can only remember things that confirm what you already believe, of course you're gonna hold to that.
First of all, everybody has confirmation bias. Everyone is biased to a certain way of thinking. In fact, funnily enough, Cosmic Skeptic had a video titled Why Smart People Do Silly Things, or something like that. Why Smart People Believe Silly Things, where he basically admitted the same thing, that everybody has biases, and you need to embrace your biases. Recognize that you are biased, but there is something else here. Confirmation bias still assumes anecdotal evidence, which he complained about as his first point. He explains confirmation bias by giving an example of somebody giving anecdotal evidence. So really, he never left his first point. He's still on anecdotal evidence.
Both the religious and alternative medicine users stay willfully ignorant or even reject science. It's obvious why both camps would reject science. Their claims simply aren't backed up by it. But what's really striking is when religious people and alternative medicine users both claim that science is some kind of conspiracy, either to kill God or to keep poor people sick so that rich people can keep getting richer. As if every scientist is in on some kind of plot to scam the common man so that they can get richer. It's just absolutely ridiculous. People who claim this don't realize that one of the fundamental parts of science is trying to disprove your peer. I mean, there are professional peer reviewers. Their job is to prove people in their field entirely wrong. They're successful a lot of the time. That's where their money comes from, not from agreeing with other people. This fundamental distrust of science really comes from a fundamental misunderstanding of it in the first place. This is also why I personally think that it's so easy for very religious people to buy into alternative medicine. I mean, they already reject science entirely, and so they're really susceptible to all these bogus claims by people who position themselves against science.
So in his attempt to equivocate alternative medicine with religion, he equivocates science with certain beliefs that claim to be scientific. You can only do science because Christianity is true. Anyone who claims to reject science is not doing it because it conflicts with Christianity. If you want to say it conflicts with some other religion, go ahead. But don't lump us all in together. Otherwise, I'm just going to be forced to assume that you're talking about my specific religion, and respond accordingly. If you believe in evolution or a billion-year-old universe, you are the one rejecting science. Do not equivocate the method for which we measure the natural universe, aka science, with your beliefs about said universe. The ability to do science at all is only possible if Christianity were true, which it is.
Lastly, both religion and alternative medicine manipulate people in order to sell their message. They manipulate their fear and their guilt especially. Several religions, especially monotheistic ones, threaten eternal torture if you don't buy into their message. Whereas a lot of alternative medicine manufacturers will claim that everything else out there besides their product is really just trying to poison you or take advantage of you. Both of those are scare tactics, and they're both absolutely abhorrent. Religion will often use people's guilt over their own wrongdoings to get them to spread their own message, whereas alternative medicine companies will often say, if you're not investing in our product, you're not investing in your own health, in your own family's health. They'll even go as far as saying that you're effectively poisoning your family, your own children, if you're not buying into our remedy. When you don't have any evidence for your claims, using emotional manipulation is a great way to get your message out there. That's exactly why both religion and alternative medicine do exactly that.
The options for analogies here are just endless. Hey, little Susie, don't drink that, it's poison. You'll be coughing up blood for a week before you die. Now, is it true that the poison will kill you? Of course. Is it a scare tactic to tell the person they're gonna die if they drink it? Yeah, it kind of is. Does that make it wrong to tell them they're gonna die if they drink the poison? No, it makes it wrong not to tell them. Hell is not a threat. It is a warning. It is explaining the real-life situation that you are currently in. If you do not repent and ask Jesus to take your punishment for you, does the prospect of hell scare you? Good. It should. Just like you should be scared if you just drank poison.
I think you need a doctor.
You need to stop what you're doing and go to the hospital.